Welcome back to A1 Storyteller, the place where justice is served, karma strikes hard, and the truth can't be hidden. Tonight's story will shock you to your core. Imagine being a wealthy, successful black woman, pregnant and just trying to live your life. But a racist cop sees nothing but the color of your skin. He doesn't care who you are. He doesn't care about your unborn child. What happens next will make your blood boil. This cop, fueled by bias and arrogance, deploys a K-9 attack dog on her, thinking she's just another nobody he can trample on. But what he doesn't know? She's not just anyone. Her husband is the most powerful man in the city, the mayor himself. The moment he finds out, oh, you won't believe what happens next. Buckle up, because this story will leave you stunned, outraged, and cheering for justice. Make sure you watch till the end, because karma is about to be swift and brutal, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story like this. Now, let's dive in. Monica Davenport was no ordinary woman. At just 32 years old, she was a self-made millionaire, a powerhouse entrepreneur, and, most importantly, 7 months pregnant. She had built an empire in real estate and was well respected in the city. But to Officer Bradley Carter, she was just another black woman in an expensive car. It was a quiet night in downtown Oak Ridge. Monica had just left a dinner with some of the city's most influential business leaders and was heading home in her luxury SUV. The streets were calm, the air was crisp, and she was looking forward to getting home and resting. As she pulled up to a stoplight, she noticed a police car creeping up behind her. The headlights cast an eerie glow, making the hairs on her arms stand up. She had seen too many horrific news stories about police encounters with black drivers. She took a deep breath, reminding herself, "I've done nothing wrong." But the flashing red and blue lights in her rearview mirror told a different story. Whoop, whoop, the sirens blared. Monica sighed. She carefully pulled over to the side of the road, keeping her hands on the steering wheel. A tall, burly officer emerged from the patrol car, his face tight with suspicion. His badge read Officer Carter, and he moved with the arrogance of a man who believed he was untouchable. "License and registration," he barked, his hand already hovering over his holster. Monica swallowed hard, her pulse quickening. "Sure," she said calmly, reaching slowly into her purse to retrieve her documents. Officer Carter snatched them out of her hand. His eyes flicked over the information before he gave her a sideways glance. "This your car?" he asked. Monica's jaw clenched. "Here we go." "Yes, it is. Is there a problem, officer?" "You were driving erratically," he lied. Monica knew that wasn't true. She had obeyed every traffic law, but she also knew arguing would get her nowhere. "I wasn't aware of any issues," she said carefully. "I'd be happy to take a sobriety test if needed." Officer Carter's lip curled. He hated her confidence. "Step out of the vehicle," he ordered. Monica hesitated. "Officer, I'm pregnant." I said step out of the damn car," he shouted. Her heart pounded. This wasn't just about a traffic stop anymore. This was about power, control, intimidation. She unbuckled her seatbelt, moving slowly to avoid making any sudden movements. As soon as she stepped onto the pavement, the night air felt heavier. Officer Carter took a step toward her. Then he did something she never expected. He reached for his radio. "I've got a suspicious individual refusing to comply," he said, "bringing in backup." Monica's stomach dropped. Backup? For what? And then he whistled. A deep, menacing bark shattered the air. A police K-9 unit emerged from the squad car, its eyes locked onto Monica. The German Shepherd growled, its body coiled and ready to attack. Monica froze. "Officer, wait, what are you doing? I haven't done anything wrong." But Officer Carter smirked. "You think just because you're wearing fancy clothes and driving a nice car, you don't have to answer to the law?" Monica's blood ran cold. She opened her mouth to protest. Then the dog lunged. Monica barely had time to react. She stumbled backward, instinctively raising her arms to shield herself. But before the dog could reach her, a voice thundered through the air. "Stand down!" the command boomed, cutting through the tension like a blade. Another police cruiser skidded to a halt and a second officer jumped out, his face twisted in shock. "Carter, what the hell are you doing?" the officer barked. Monica turned, her heart still racing, and saw the newcomer staring at Officer Carter with wide eyes. "What's wrong, Jeffries?" Carter sneered. Just handling some business." Jeffrey's face turned pale. "Oh my God, you idiot! Do you have any idea who she is?" Officer Carter's smirk faltered. "What?" Jeffries looked at Monica, his throat bobbing as if he couldn't believe what he was about to say. "This is Monica Davenport," he breathed. "The mayor's wife." Officer Carter stiffened. His hand dropped from his holster, his face suddenly void of all the arrogance he carried just moments before. "Wait, what?" he stammered. Jeffrey shook his head in disbelief. "You just deployed a K-9 on the mayor's pregnant wife, you absolute moron." Monica held her breath, watching as Carter's entire demeanor changed. His face drained of color, his hands trembled slightly, and then, like a man realizing his career was over, his lips parted. "Oh, shit!" Officer Carter stumbled backward, his mouth hanging open. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he processed what had just happened. He had attacked the mayor's wife. Monica stood tall, her hands clenched into fists, her breath still shaky from the near attack. The K-9 officer, still growling, was yanked back by Officer Jeffries, who was now looking at Carter like he had just dug his own grave. "You're done," Jeffries muttered under his breath. Monica had had enough. She reached into her pocket, pulled out her phone, and dialed a number with shaking hands. "Hello?" A deep voice answered. Her husband. "The mayor of Oak Ridge." "Darius," she whispered, her voice a mixture of anger and exhaustion. "Come to the corner of 5th and Oak. Now." There was a long pause. Then his voice turned ice cold. "I'm on my way." Officer Carter swallowed hard. He looked at Monica, then back at Jeffries. He had heard the mayor's name before, but now he was putting it all together. Monica Davenport. The woman he had just tried to humiliate, intimidate, and nearly attack with a K-9 unit was Monica Davenport Williams, the wife of Mayor Darius Williams, the man who controlled his paycheck, the man who could end his entire career with one phone call. "Oh no," Carter whispered. Jeffrey shook his head. "Oh yes." 10 minutes later, the quiet street was suddenly filled with the sound of approaching engines. A black Cadillac Escalade pulled up to the scene, followed by 2 unmarked police vehicles. The back door flew open, and out stepped Mayor Darius Williams. Dressed in a tailored navy puce suit, the 6'3" powerhouse of a man radiated authority. His piercing brown eyes scanned the scene, first landing on his visibly shaken pregnant wife, then on Officer Carter. His jaw tightened. He strode forward, his polished shoes clicking against the pavement. Monica met him halfway. "Darius," she breathed, gripping his arm tightly. He cupped her face gently, scanning her for injuries. "Are you hurt?" His voice was dangerously low. "No," she murmured, "but it was close." Darius turned, his entire body radiating power and fury as his gaze landed on Officer Carter. "Which one of you," he asked slowly, "put my wife in danger?" Jeffries pointed without hesitation. "Him." Carter's face turned white. The mayor took a step forward, and for the first time in his life, Carter felt fear. The air around them felt thick with tension. The mayor's glare could have turned steel to dust, and Officer Carter felt it all. He had been a cop for over a decade, used to being the one with power, control, and the final say. But now, standing in front of the most powerful man in Oak Ridge, he had never felt so small. Monica stood by her husband's side, her arms crossed over her chest, her eyes still blazing with anger and disgust. The K-9 officer, now safely restrained, was panting at Carter's feet, as if sensing his handler's growing panic. Darius Williams, the mayor of Oak Ridge, took a slow, calculated step forward. His expensive leather shoes clicked against the pavement, the sound echoing in the silence. His voice, when he finally spoke, was calm and controlled, but it carried the weight of pure authority. "Officer Carter," he began, "let's make something very clear. You are done." Carter's face drained of color. "Sir, he stammered, his lips trembling. Darius held up a hand, silencing him. "I don't care what you have to say," the mayor continued. "The only thing I care about is that you thought you could terrorize my wife, that you could release a police dog on a pregnant woman, and that somehow you thought you'd get away with it." Carter's heart pounded in his chest. He glanced at Jeffries, but the other officer had already stepped back, shaking his head like he wanted no part in saving him. Darius took another step forward. "Tell me something, Officer Carter," he said, tilting his head. "If my wife wasn't who she was, would you have stopped?" Carter's mouth opened and closed, but he had no answer. Because they all knew the truth. He wouldn't have stopped. He would have let that K-9 attack her. He would have stood by and watched it happen. And that was unforgivable. Darius turned to Jeffries. "Call Internal Affairs. Now." Jeffries didn't hesitate. He grabbed his radio and called it in. "Internal Affairs, this is Officer Jeffries, badge number 45,692. I need an immediate response team at 5th and Oak. We have an officer-involved incident that requires urgent review." Carter flinched. "IA?" This wasn't just a slap on the wrist. This was a full-scale investigation. His career was hanging by a thread. 15 minutes later, 3 unmarked black SUVs pulled up to the scene. Out stepped 2 Internal Affairs agents, stern-faced men in dark suits, followed by Oak Ridge's chief of police, Robert Harding. Harding was a no-nonsense leader, a man who had spent decades trying to clean up corruption in the force. And right now, he looked furious. "What the hell is going on here?" Harding demanded, his sharp gaze sweeping across the scene. Darius stepped forward. "I'll tell you exactly what's going on," he said. And with that, he laid out everything: the false accusation, the K-9 deployment, the blatant racial profiling, and the fact that Officer Carter had no remorse. By the time he was done, Harding's face was like stone. He turned to Carter, disgust written all over his expression. "Badge and gun, now!" Carter's eyes widened in horror. "What? No, sir, I said now!" Harding's voice boomed, making everyone flinch. Carter's hands trembled as he unhooked his badge and gun, placing them in Harding's outstretched hand. "You're suspended indefinitely pending investigation," Harding said coldly. "And if I have anything to do with it, you'll never wear that badge again." Carter felt like he was going to throw up. He had lost everything in just a matter of minutes. And the worst part? It was all his own fault. The next morning, the story was everywhere. The news headlines were brutal. Oak Ridge cop suspended after deploying K-9 on pregnant black woman. Officer under investigation for racial profiling incident involving mayor's wife. Body cam footage reveals disturbing abuse of power. By noon, the footage had been leaked. The world watched in horror as Officer Carter was seen screaming at a visibly pregnant black woman, his hand on the leash of a snarling K-9, ready to attack. People were outraged. Protests erupted in front of the Oak Ridge Police Department. Activists, reporters, and community leaders demanded Carter be fired permanently. And by the end of the day, they got their wish. The official statement from the Oak Ridge PD read, "Officer Carter has been terminated effective immediately. His actions do not reflect the values of our department, and we remain committed to accountability and justice." Carter sat in his small, dark apartment, staring at the TV screen in shock. He was jobless. He was disgraced. He was done. No other department would ever hire him. No one would ever respect him again, and all he could do was sit there, drowning in the karma he had brought upon himself. Power is only as strong as the people who uphold it, and when it's abused, karma comes knocking, hard. Officer Carter thought he could intimidate, humiliate, and control an innocent black woman, but in the end, his own arrogance destroyed him. This is more than just a story, it's a lesson. A lesson that racism, corruption, and abuse of power will never win. Because no matter how high someone thinks they stand, justice always finds a way to bring them down. If you love stories where the bad guys get exactly what they deserve, then make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to a One Storyteller, and turn on notifications, because you won't want to miss what's coming next. And tell us in the comments, what's the most shocking case of justice you've ever seen? We're reading every single one. Until next time, stay aware, stay empowered, and always stand for what's right.